Okay, now should be good on Instagram as well. And all right, there we are. We'll give this a second go round. We are now live on Instagram as well as YouTube and Twitch. And this is, like I was mentioning, this is the only opportunity I have to really broadcast anything on Instagram Live, because it requires this vertical format. And most of the things that we do with All About Aerodynamics and AtTheTrack.live require the widescreen so that you can get a clear view of what is going on. But here we are. Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. I am Coach James. I'm the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program where we use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including, but not limited to, friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, a range of topics. After we have covered all of the topics, then we conduct experiments to drive home those concepts, and then I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything that they have learned in the course. Once they have made their selection, they test the speed of their cars, they weigh their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made of. All of the information that they can observe, they catalog that in a spreadsheet, and then the only thing left to do is set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip and have races. And the students race the cars and observe how their cars performed. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again, or would they make a different choice based on what they observed? So in the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about All About Aerodynamics and how to bring our science program to your school or your organization or your special event, all you have to do is go to our website, aerodynamics.com, and all of the information you need is there. Or you can just follow us on Instagram, Aerodynamics, and all the information you need is in the bio, so you can contact me and ask me any questions that you may have. But this is not All About Aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So Wind Tunnel Wednesday is where we take Hot Wheels cars and some Matchbox cars occasionally and put them inside the Funtech Labs 1/64th scale wind tunnel. And we put the cars in, we turn on the air streams, and the smoke streams flow over, under, and around the car, and it gives us an idea about how much drag these cars are likely to encounter when we race them. When do we race them? Every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific on AtTheTrack.live. What we do is we introduce new cars into our fleet. I mentioned that I bring 400 cars in for the students to use, but currently there are 957 total cars in the fleet, so I have the option to bring 400 of those 957 cars. But every week we introduce new cars into the fleet. And when we do that, after we've taken a look at the cars, I put the information into a spreadsheet, the track is already set up, so we have a tournament and race the cars. But wait, there's more. You have the opportunity to participate. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, that address at the bottom of the screen, and you're going to have 3 options there. One's the YouTube stream link, one's the Twitch stream link, but the third link, the most important link, is the one that says choose your car. When you select that, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will see all 957 cars in the fleet listed, cataloged, numbered, organized, ready for you to choose. Why are you choosing? Because you're going to pick a car that's going to be entered into the tournament on Saturday, and once that happens, then that's it. We're going to wait and see. Actually, this is important because that's the exact number. See how things work? Things got a little off because, because of some little technical issues, but as I'm scrolling through right here, I see the exact number for the exact car that I'm going to need a little later. So see how things work out. All right. Once you pick a car, then you're entered into the tournament, and you will compete with the other cars that the other viewers have picked and the new cars that I have introduced into the fleet, and we will see which car comes out on top. The car that comes out on top will have the opportunity to go up against our fastest in fleet car. The fastest in fleet car is the car that's won the tournament the previous week, and right now our current fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the Arkham Asylum Batmobile. This car was introduced about 2 weeks ago and absolutely sort of took the track by storm. It blew out our former fastest in fleet champion, the Blitz Speeder. And I'm sorry, no, it didn't beat the Blitz Speeder. It beat the Mercedes-Benz 500E, which beat the Blitz Speeder the previous week. The Mercedes-Benz was on its first title defense, and this Batmobile came in and took it out. And then last week, the Batmobile challenged, went up against the cars that won the tournament last week, and also won in impressive fashion, kind of going away. So the Batmobile is our new fastest in fleet car. So if you pick a car and you decide, all right, you're ready to race, you're ready to go, then that just means that if you beat out all the other cars that are introduced, all the other viewer-picked cars, you will get a chance to try and take down this Batmobile, this Batman Arkham Asylum Batmobile. So that's all you have to do, is you go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, go to this page, find the car you want. All the cars are numbered, by the way, I forgot to mention. You just take the number of the car that you want, drop it in the chat, and then I will pull that car. If you pull that car, if you pick a car today, then you'll get to see it in the wind tunnel. If you pick a car on Saturday, it will be racing in the tournament. So that is what we have going on. And we are going to always start off with our fastest in fleet car in the wind tunnel first. And the reason why we do that is because the fastest in fleet car has overcome or minimized the impact of the three forces trying to slow cars down on the track. And those three forces are drag, gravity, and friction, with drag being the most significant force, because these cars are firing out at a high rate of speed, and the faster an object moves through the air, the more the air has an impact, the more drag is a significant factor. So with our cars, gravity can come into play, but most of the cars are within the same kind of weight range, so the difference in weight isn't so great that it's going to make that much of a difference. It can make a difference in a close race, no doubt. And then friction. The friction occurs, obviously, when the wheels are rolling on the track, there's friction, no, of course. But additional friction to that contact occurs if a car gets offline and starts to move to one side or the other. If that happens, we're going to start to see the cars bounce back and forth. So a car that hits the right side of the track is going to bounce back to the left, and it's going to keep bouncing back and forth. Every time it bounces to one side, it will scrape up against the track just a little bit, the sidewalls of the track just a little bit, and bounce back. Excuse me. All that does is work to slow the car's forward momentum, and that is pretty bad. But drag is the factor and the force that we can kind of get a sense for when we put these cars into the wind tunnel. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to put some cars in the wind tunnel, take a look, and in a couple cases we have cars that are, some viewers have, they'll pick more than one car, they'll pick two cars, and take a look at the aerodynamic profile, and then make a decision on which car they want to see race. Let me get this Batmobile right in place. This is a definitely a unique car, and Batmobiles. If Batmobiles are your thing, we have so many This is I think we counted. This is the 16th or 17th Batmobile in the fleet. So if Batmobiles are your thing, we've got you covered completely. So what we're going to do is go ahead and turn on this smoke stream. I made an adjustment to the nozzle. So what I'm hoping to see is when the smoke streams come out that they're clearly differentiated, that we have 5 separate distinct smoke streams, and that we don't have smoke leaking out. But one thing I like to point out before I turn this on is that what you want to look for is initially when I turn this machine on and the smoke comes out, it's going to come out and it'll be very light, and then all of a sudden it kind of like pops into view. And when it first pops into view, you can see the exact path over the vehicle that it's taking, and it really kind of gives an idea of the pathway that the air is going to follow. So let's go ahead and get this turned on. And all of a sudden you'll just see the smoke. Here it comes right there. As it appears, you get that early quick sense for how it's flowing in. And now yeah, see, this company, this is this is version 1.0, and what I've noticed has begun to happen is we're getting smoke kind of leaking in. When we were first running this, we just had the 5 smoke streams that were very distinct, but now smoke is kind of drifting in from these sides, and that is not what it's not helpful. But we can still identify the path that the air is taking over, under, and around this car, and we're pushing this up to 107 miles per hour, 121, 134. And what we see with this one is that there really isn't anything impeding the airflow. And that's kind of what we're looking for most of the time, is whether or not the airflow is being interrupted or disturbed or separating from following the lines of the body of the car. So we can see right here the air is hitting this front area and pulling right up over the hood and flowing right back into the windshield, driver's cockpit area, and then right across the back. And we're not seeing too much separation. Let me turn this up. And as we turn it up to 161 miles per hour, getting a little more distinction with those air streams, but we are still getting a lot of leakage in this area with the air flowing up. Now there is another nozzle that came with this thing, and it's just a single air stream, and I might put that in just to see if we're getting the same results. I usually don't use that nozzle, because with the single airstream, visually you're not getting as much information. But with this car, the important thing to note, and it's a little tricky because it is a fantasy car, so all the normal rules don't necessarily apply because it's got such strange shapes. So if you have a regular car, basically the same shape that you're going to have from the center to the passenger side door is going to be the same thing that you're going to have from the center of the windshield to the driver's side door. But with these fantasy cars, that's not the case. They have strange wings and parts and pieces and gaps and other things that make the sides of the car a little more unique. So if we get an idea, because I centered this car, so if we get an idea of what's happening with the airflow in the center, that's not necessarily what's going to be happening when we get over to the wings. You can kind of see, and this is just a little bit off center, slightly. So with these non-traditional style cars, let's push this up to 174 miles per hour. It becomes a little more difficult to see exactly how that airflow is traveling over the car. But the thing that's important is that we don't see a big separation taking place where the air just completely and totally separates from following the lines of the body of the car. We get this turbulent air back here, which is to be expected, but right here it's pretty smooth, even if it's not the cleanest sets of lines that we're seeing. But that is what we're getting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and switch out and put in the single nozzle. And since I haven't used it, perhaps it's got a better seal on it, and therefore we won't have as much leakage in terms of the air coming out. So turn that this way, and I will pull out this thing, and I'll just put it over here so everybody can kind of take a look and see what we're dealing with. Hey, Roughshod, how's it going? Let's see, right here. So this is what the smoke chamber looks like for the Windsible, and it's, for the most part, it's been fine, but we haven't gotten those error messages in a while, and you can see this, that's the fog fluid there, and I don't really have to change it that often. I was concerned when I bought this that this fluid would run out, because it's some stuff that you can only get through the company, and they don't tell you what exactly it is, what exactly that chemical is. And so right now we're at about I think it's at about 75%. I think that's what the marker says. But that's not what's important. What's important is this part. So these are the nozzles. We have these 5 nozzles here where the smoke comes out. And it's just a little magnetic ring that pops on and off right there. And so this ring actually came out, and I had to glue it back into place, this metal ring right there. And I thought that might have been the reason why we were getting air leaking out, but it doesn't seem to be, that doesn't seem to be the reason. So what I'm going to do is, the other nozzle that comes with this is this one. It's just a single stream. And you can see how low this one sits. And because if you're looking at that, when we put the cars in there, it's usually that second stream is the one that hits right at the bumper and flows over the top of the car. When we just have the one, it's either going to hit too low on the car, or it's going to go under the car if we have the wheels, if we have the wheel stands in there. So I'm going to put it in there just to see if the smoke streams are leaking. And if it is, then I know it's some other issue that's not just related to the nozzle. So let's go ahead and get back over here and drop this in. And just slide it into here. A couple of blinks from the light, and now let's go ahead and see what happens with this single stream. So okay, so yeah, this doesn't really do much because I can see the streams coming out. It's coming out down here, down at the end, and we are getting leakage up at the top, and so I'm gonna have to go on the Discord and find out, ask some questions. But when I turn this up, this is basically just blowing right underneath the car. So let's go ahead and I'll take the wheel stands out. Drop this down. See if it makes a difference. Although now we get back to the problem of trying to keep the cars straight. But there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we get now. I'm not really impressed. All right, let's try this again. Come on. See what this thing is going to do. They just released the 1/18th scale and 1/24th scale versions of this. And yeah, this is kind of... The single stream is a bit of a mess. I see the stream, I see it coming out down here, and I can kind of lift this up and maybe so you can see it there coming out. Maybe you can't. Right there, it's coming out, but then once it hits the car, it's just fogging everything up. Let me go ahead and turn up the speed. This is at 134 miles per hour. And I just don't. Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna have to just stick with the five nozzle situation. But I am curious, so you can kind of see right there where it's coming in. But yeah, this isn't really giving us much useful visual information. So we're going back to the 5, and we'll just have to deal with that, and I'll have to figure out on the through the Discord if there's some way to either make an adjustment or something to tighten up or clean out or something that will make this thing a little more tight. Because if you go back and look at any of the previous wind tunnel, especially the older ones, when we were first kind of putting cars into this wind tunnel, the smoke streams were very distinct, all 5, and we didn't have any leakage. So I'm not really sure what what accounts for that, but it gives us enough information that we can still get some pretty good ideas about the drag that these cars are going to face. So we have cars that are going to be racing this Saturday. It's our day after Halloween edition, and there are some Halloween themed cars that are going to be racing, and some from recent weeks, like this one, the Vampira. This one is going to be in the mix. I believe this already raced, but now while it didn't win the actual race, there is a chance that it could win the Halloween themed race and tournament. So that is what is going to be happening this week. We've got that one. Then we've got this one, which is the Street Creeper, and it is an open wheel car that makes me a little nervous. With it's got the little spider web designs and situation there, and that is the Street Creeper. So that one will be going in, and as always, with the open wheel cars, there is always the chance that they will be joining their boy Forky in the great Hot Wheels Beyond, because these cars, if they crash into that barrier, the axles are done, and that is the end of their racing careers. But hopefully, we haven't had any of these open wheel cars check out off the track in quite a while, but we've got that one, the Street Creeper. Then we've got this one, the Rigger Motor, which is this one here, this kind of casket themed Hot Wheels car. And another open wheel car. I don't remember if this was just being considered before or if it actually raced, but it will be racing this Saturday on our special Halloween edition. Then there's the Skull Crusher, which is the car that I just passed by when I was scrolling through the cars in the fleet, and I will be pulling that. That will also be racing. And then we have a handful of cars that I just picked up that are part of the they're a part of the Halloween edition of cars. And so usually we're going to do something that we don't typically do, which is crack open a couple of these cars. So because we're going to put them in the wind tunnel, and I don't know if they're necessarily going to end up in the fleet, because at least one of them, maybe two, are duplicate cars and tend not to put duplicates in. But the first one is this Diesel Duty, and the Diesel Duty is part of the there's not even a little label, but obviously it's a hot Halloween themed series and set. And in this one, there is the See You Later, the Night Shifter, the Hollowback, and the Hologram. Most of those I know are already in the fleet, so it is what it is. But we're going to crack this open just so we can throw it in the wind tunnel and take a look at it, because if it doesn't make it into the fleet, then it's no big deal. We'll weigh it on Saturday, but let's go ahead and put this one into the wind tunnel, see what's happening with this, the Diesel Duty, and I will just leave it. I won't put the wheel stands on, because what's the point, as big as this thing is. So we don't get very many trucks in the fleet, usually because a lot of them are they're just too wide. All right, let's pop this up. 67 miles per hour. We've got our airflow, and you can see right when it pops in, you can see the path that the air is taking. And let's go ahead and push this up to 107 miles per hour. And we see that air is hitting right at the front of this truck. It's kind of building up right where the brighter white is. You can see that's where that air is kind of building up right in the front, creating that area of high pressure. And then it has to figure out where it's going to go. Is it going to go around, under, over? You see the air coming up over the hood, hitting the windshield, coming up to this part, and this is where we start to get that flow separation. This is what we didn't see from the Batmobile. Let's turn the speed up to 134 miles per hour. And I think everything, the weight of this one is going to come into play because it feels a little heavy. It's a bigger, kind of bulkier car. Even though it's got all this purple part is plastic, all the orange is metal, and it's just a bigger car. There's probably going to weigh more, and that weight is not usually something that helps cars on our track. Let's go ahead and push this up to 147 miles per hour, and still getting decent airflow. And I think right until the air gets just behind these pipes here, gets to the bed of the truck, then it starts to get a little funny. Hey, and I've noticed now we're getting the distinct airstream, so I don't know what I did, but let's hope this lasts, so we're not getting as much of that leakage as we were before. So let's push this up to 174 miles per hour. The good look. I think among trucks, this would probably do pretty well. I just think that the size and the weight is going to work against it, but you never know how these things turned out. We get surprised all the time with these races. So that is the Diesel Duty. Pull this out here. And take a look at it right here. Just a big solid truck. And those pipes are going to probably mean that we're going to have to use our taller acrylic cover, which is something that we put in place to help keep the cars on the track, which is kind of important when you're racing cars. You really do want them to stay on the track. All right, the other car that is going to be a part of this race is going to be this one. It is going to be the hologram, and I believe I already have one of these in the fleet, but this one has a Halloween theme. It's part of this whole group of cars. So let's go ahead and take a look. This should be pretty interesting in the wind tunnel, just because of this huge front area right here. That's probably gonna just take the air, and we're gonna see a lot of air bunching up. I don't know if any of that air is gonna make it up to the top and over. Here's what I expect to see. I expect to see a lot of bright white smoke in this area where the air just piles up against the front of this thing, figuring out, all right, which way is it gonna go? And then I expect just complete chaos with the air and a lot of turbulent air, swirling air all around here, all around the bottom. But let's see if that's the actual case with the hologram. Let me move this back just a little bit. All right, here we go. I guess it would help if I got it centered. All right. Let's see, what's the hologram gonna show us here? We're gonna push this up. 67 miles per hour, our cruising speed, and yeah, pretty much just what we thought. We have just all of this air just building up here in the front, trying to figure out, like, how do I get around this massive cab? And that is not going to be helpful for this car on the track. Going to push this up to 107 miles per hour. And this is what we, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this. Cars with a huge frontal area, are going to have these kind of issues. And the air's just streaming off the sides. That whole wake of air. Yeah, this one we might run it backwards. That has happened. There's a couple of cars in the fleet that some of the students have picked that, for whatever reason, we couldn't get them to stay on the track going forward. And this is also before I created the acrylic cover. So we would put the cars in backwards. And some of the cars that wouldn't stay on the track going forward would stay in going backwards. Let's push this up a little bit. 161 miles per hour. And I mean, it's just clear. Now we're gonna see what it does on the track, and I want to say it's gonna be heavier, but all that that orange area, it's all plastic, so this thing might not weigh as much as you would think. But in looking at it, this orange part at the bottom, this is metal. So this is metal. All this green part here, I believe, is metal. And then the orange up top is all plastic. So I'll be curious to see what this car weighs. But in terms of the amount of drag and resistance, this one, not exactly the most efficient. So we're going to have to see how that works out. And let's go ahead, just for the sake of argument, and flip it around backwards and see what we see here. Let me make sure it is lined up straight. And it is for the most part. Let's go ahead and see what we get. Hey, Christopher, how you doing? We have put it at 67 miles per hour. And I think what we end up with is kind of the reverse situation where, or not even the reverse situation, it's just that the air's still going to pile up against the cab. We're up at 121 miles per hour. It's just that now it's piling up once it comes up over this the tail end of the trailer, or tractor trailer, the cab. It's gonna hit the back wall of the cab portion right here. So this is now where it's piling up. It's just because there's this orange piece, we don't necessarily see it, but that is what's happening. So even if we ran this backwards, this area would almost be working basically like a parachute, trapping that air in and kind of slowing the car's momentum. The only other option is to flip it around forward, and when we do that, then we get a whole other, we get that same issue just in the front. So it's kind of just a matter of whether you want the air getting stacked up at the front or at the back. But that is the hologram, and that is going to be in. Okay, so I was wrong about the materials. So let me put this. Let's switch over to this view. It's actually, the green part is plastic. The green part is plastic. The this black, the splitter bumper here at the front is plastic. The only part that is metal is the base right here. So this may actually end up being a little faster than we expected. I still don't think it's going to beat out most of the cars. Something else that's a little interesting, there is this little opening right here at the top. It's not going to do anything for all that air stacking up at the top, but it would be interesting. I'm curious to know if the air is passing through there and then out the back somewhere. Doesn't look like the back is open, which again isn't going to be helpful, but we will see. We'll see what happens with that car. once we race it. Another one, the last one in this Halloween series, is this one. It is the Night Shifter. Now, we definitely have one of these in the fleet already, but this is the Halloween edition, and so it's going to be part of our Halloween set of races. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Night Shifter. And then I'm going to grab a couple of cars I'm going to grab one of the cars that Roughshod was looking at, because the other one we know all about. The other one is infamous on the track. This one, the Night Shifter, pretty good. I would expect this car to do very well. And we really are going to, I think, of the cars that are racing, this one will probably have the best shot of the Halloween cars that we've looked at so far. Let's go ahead and throw it into the wind tunnel. I will put the wheel, let's see, get these over here, switch over to the wind tunnel view, and we'll put the Night Shifter in. And all right, let's take a look at this one. I like this car. I like the look of it, and I like the graphics on this one better than the original that we have in the fleet. But hey, here we go. Christopher says he's sticking with the Skull Crusher for Saturday. He wants to see the 5 alarm and the rapid pulse. Let me go ahead and, all right, so this one, 67. Gonna push this up a little bit. Up to 121 miles per hour. And it's looking pretty decent. Kind of more of a typical and kind of traditional airflow pattern that we're seeing. And I am, let's see, A to Z. Let's see, you want to see the rapid pulse. Rapid pulse is car 871. So then that would be one that raced not too long ago. 871. Rapid pulse. And the 5 alarm. If that's that green fire truck, perhaps. Let me check the numbers. And let me push this up to 134 miles per hour. That air is really, it's building up right at the front, and it's coming up over the hood. And as it goes from the hood to the windshield, we're just seeing that it's not necessarily flowing along the body of the car. It is sort of coming up from the bumper, headed straight back for the windshield, the roof, and then off the top. So it's kind of interesting. Let me check. Okay, so the 5 alarm I actually have right here. So the 5 alarm is this fire truck. Let me go ahead and drop this in. This is most likely going to be a pretty rough trip in the wind tunnel. We are going to see that air stack up right at the front. And you can see the path that it's taking to get over that that huge frontal area up to 121 miles per hour. I'm going to go pull the skull shaker, and actually we saw the skull shaker. I'm going to pull the rapid pulse, and I'm going to pull Roughshod's Mercedes AMG so we can take a look at those. This is at 121 miles per hour currently. Okay, so that fire truck, unless it was going to race one of our buses or some matchbox truck, it probably wouldn't have much of a shot to do very well on our track. But it is definitely a little. It would be interesting in that kind of matchup. It kind of reminds me, I would say the Ain't Fair, that bus, but that bus doesn't have a big ladder on top, creating another area or point to kind of disrupt the airflow. We have this one. This is the other one that Christopher wanted to see, the Rapid Pulse, which I think if we just were going in an emergency vehicle type race, this one would probably be a solid pick. Now the kind of step with what we saw as soon as the airflow kicked in, how the air is it's building up in the front. Where it gets really kind of bright white is just where the air is building up, and the air is building up in this big frontal area, comes up over the top, and then because this windshield isn't kind of sloped, it's more of a step. There's like another barrier here. So basically you've got this is a frontal area, this is a frontal area, and then eventually when the air gets up to the top, it kind of starts to flow along the surface of the roof and then back to the wing. I think what hurts this is the shape of the front. If this kind of came down very smoothly to like a point, like maybe out here, all the way down, and this came all the way up and maybe had a splitter of some kind, and it had a more pointed edge, this would probably do a little better. But it's got that big frontal area there, and then here. So let's go ahead and turn this up. Right now it's at 94 miles per hour. We're going to push it to 134. And you can really just see that path that the air is taking, and that's probably why this car performed the way it did. If you want to see how this car performed, because it's 871, so that means it raced not too long ago. You can go back and check out those old episodes. On our YouTube channel. Just hit the live tab and everything is cataloged, and there's time codes, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Alright, so that's the Rapid Pulse. Now we're getting into, since Christopher's going with the Skull Shaker, Skull Crusher, and we've already had that in previously, we're going to look at the other car that Roughshod is considering. So with the new shakeup with the fastest in fleet cars, he went from there's a car that he's been picking, He's picked a couple times. The slide kick. And the slide kick, it was champion for a moment. It had its moment. It beat out the Dogfighter and was our fastest in fleet car. And then it was taken out by the Blitzspeeder. The Blitzspeeder was ultimately taken out by the Mercedes-Benz 500E, which was taken out by our current fastest in fleet car, the Batmobile Arkham Asylum Edition. So, this past week, Roughshod was considering two cars. One is the slide kick that we already know. It's in the mix. It's one of our top cars, one of the fastest cars in the fleet. And it had its moment. It had that real quick Rey Mysterio type title run that lasted for just a hot second. And then it was gone. But now, he may pick it. But he may also pick this one, which is the Mercedes AMG. And this one is an ID car. So that means it's got the little chip, the little ID chip on the bottom, which was meant to work with the ID track and accessories. That line didn't really do as well for Hot Wheels as I guess they were hoping. And it is discontinued as far as I know. But these are great cars because they are premium cars with plastic wheels. And that is just perfect. I love that. And so if I go to like the Hot Wheels swap meet, people have them. I have to overpay for them, but in some cases it's worth it because Hot Wheels just doesn't tend to make, they just don't tend to make premium cars with plastic wheels. The premium cars have the rubber wheels and the real riders, and that's what people expect. But in this case, we got these cars. So anyway, this is the other car that Roughshod may consider taking instead of the slide kick. So the slide kick is a known commodity. We know what we're going to get with the slide kick. We're going to put this AMG Mercedes into the wind tunnel. We're going to take a look at it, and we'll find out whether or not Roughshod decides to go with this one, or if he's going to roll the dice with the slide kick one more time. So now we have, let's get this positioned right. And it looks like we are lined up. Now let's see what we've got here with this Mercedes. I like it, and I like the fact that the driver's cabin kind of sits back toward the rear of the car, which means that by the time that, see, we can see it right there, right when it came on. That airflow came up over the hood, hit the windshield, the roof line, and then it's separated right here. But because that separation occurs at the back end of the car, then it's not going to have the same kind of problematic impact on the car's performance as it would if this cabin were moved forward more to the center of the car. Then we would have that airflow separation occur much earlier. So this is at 121 miles per hour. We're going to push this up to 147. And you're seeing what this airflow looks like. And it's gonna be a interesting call because I don't see anything wrong with this car, but it's just a matter of, are you gonna go with the one that you know? Like if he goes with the slide kick, it's almost, I don't want to say a guarantee because nothing's guaranteed, but based on the other cars that we at least looked at so far, it's almost a kind of guarantee that the slide kick is going to make it to the finals. and end up probably in all likelihood facing the Batmobile. But could this Mercedes, could this AMG, could this be the car to also compete? Could this? I have no idea, because I don't know that this car has been picked to race, so I haven't seen it. But it's a premium car, premium everything. Now it is all metal, so I don't know what the weight situation is. We won't know that till Saturday, but that is something to consider. This is definitely one of our top, one of the best styled cars. Those ID cars are just the best cars that I have. Some of the character cars are also made very well, but the majority of the cars that are in our fleet are mainline cars, just the regular basic Hot Wheels cars, and that is typically what we race. We're up to 147 miles per hour, pushing it to 161. $174. And the question is this car going to be the one, or is he going to go with the slide kick? So we will find out. We are going to go on Saturday. We are going to have our Halloween races. I don't have that, Christopher. I don't have that bone shaker with the Halloween theme. I just have. I'm gonna go through and look, because another car that's going to be in that I just didn't pull out is the Monster High. It's like the Monster High Ghoulmobile, car number 631. That's definitely one that's going to be in there. I thought I had this Nightmare Before Christmas Jack Skellington car, but I think that may have been a premium car that I couldn't do anything with because it had rubber wheels. So I believe I gave that one away. But we've got a good slate of cars, Halloween themed. I'm going to go through the list. I'm going to look and see if there are any more that we can throw in. And it's going to be an interesting race on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific on YouTube and Twitch. You can pick a car. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, find the car that you want. You take that number, you'll drop it in the chat, and then I will pull that car, and boom, just that simple. You are entered into the tournament. We are going to find out which of these cars is the fastest in fleet. Okay, so Rough Shots called it. We are going to have the return of the slide kick. Can the slide kick come back and take out the Batmobile? Because right now, with the Halloween themed cars, there are some cars. I haven't selected the cars that are going to be introduced from storage, but right now, I would say the slide kick is the known commodity. The slide kick is going to go ahead and be the car. So unless another car comes along that can take it out, I anticipate we're going to be looking at slide kick trying to become a 2-time champion, and this time trying to hold on to that title for more than 20 minutes. We'll see if that happens. So that is going to be Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific on YouTube and Twitch. Again, if you want more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics, right there, AA Aerodynamics, and a Cove Light. Let's see. Rough Shot says we've got a Cove Light. Let's see, 347. Let's go ahead and take a look. The Cove Light, 347, and then Christopher mentioned the Turbone Charge. I guess that's got a skull skeleton kind of theme. So, yeah, that one can be in the mix. 347. Oh yeah, here we go. Yep. There you go. See, I've got so many. Okay, so we'll put the Cove Light on the list to be in the mix and see if it is up to the challenge. Now, this car might be a little better positioned, let's see, to go ahead and actually challenge the slide kick. 347. This is the Cove Light. And then we've got the turboned what was it called? The turboned charged. And I've seen that one. Let's see. That is number turboned charge, number 101. Let's take a quick look at that one. I remember. Let's see, turbone. This will be our first kind of themed set of races since we did the Star Wars May the 4th be with you set of races with all our Star Wars themed cars. And that one was interesting because the Millennium Falcon won, and much like the slide kick, it was only champion for about 20 minutes, because then we had some other car challenge it, and that's just what happened. Let's see, the turbone charge. I don't know that this really has a. Is it a kind of Halloween thing? I guess kind of like a little. I see the kind of claws, a little monster situation. So, and we'll go ahead and tentatively put this in. I think it's supposed to be a skull or something. Maybe just because the color variant that I have doesn't really highlight any kind of Halloween theme. But sure, we'll go with this one. All right, so we've got our cars in the mix. We've got that Monster High Ghoul-mobile. That's going in. We've got the turbone charged. We've got the night shifter. We've got the diesel something. The diesel, what was it called? The night shifter. The diesel duty. We have the hologram. And we are looking pretty good. So all that's left to do is for me to scroll through, find any more Halloween themed cars that I can find. And if I do that, those will be entered into the mix. So this Saturday, we're going to have our regular races. We're going to have these Halloween cars in the mix. Should be interesting. And we're going to see. The big question is about the slide kick. Can the slide kick finally finish its story? We are going to find out. So, seeing the cars in the wind tunnel, we will see you back here Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to get these day after Halloween races going and see which car comes out on top. So, until then, I'm Coach James. For All About Aerodynamics, Wind Tunnel Wednesday, and At The Track Live, I will see you at the races.